systems and things that were in place were dismantled. So it was very similar.
Is this scenario like many women from Jamaica got married by those colonies? So, is that true?
I wouldn't say many, and I don't have any stats from, like, say, the register in Jamaica, right? The archives in Jamaica. I don't have any stats for you at this time. But my personal opinion, and being a place that I grew up, and knowing what we know about history, it wasn't marriage. It wasn't marriage. We were enslaved, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
like in Tanzania.
Yeah, it's
similar.
But and also I think
but most of them end up married, end up like having kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, yes, there were not many, because the difference is in the islands, right? The majority were African descendants. So you would have one, let's say for a plantation, you might have one or two people that were sent from the UK or from Spain to run that plantation. So it wasn't, but I wanted to explain that it wasn't an equal amount, right? It's kind of like a teacher in a classroom with 30 children. You see what I'm saying? There was a huge difference in numbers of colonizers and African descendants, right?
Okay.
So, and there was no social setting or scene. It's the big house, the colonizer in the house, and then us either as servants or working on the plantation. So there was a nightclub that Mr. British guy would go to and meet Miss African descendant and then have a relationship, get married and have children. No, it didn't happen.
Wow.
In general, it's rape.
Oh my God.
Yes. Abuse. And children are going to come from that.
Oh, that was
Some were married when they came. You had some of the colonizers came, the husband and wife, but then a lot of the others, it was a business transaction. They were sent by the crown to manage the plantation, manage the factory, right?
Yes.
So it's like a job assignment.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm gonna get back to you. Let me talk about Mzee as well. Mzee, can you just say a little that the impacts of colonialism in Jamaica?
Well, the heart of the colonialism was different from when it started first, because normally I went to a school. At first it wasn't like that, like we were still in slavery, but it reached a stage where you function with the society, whatever the society is doing, you help them, you function within that. For example, I used to work with the Destiny Sugar Company, which is a foreign organization. They came there to make sugar from cane. So they exploit the people as much as they can. But after a while it worked out that it looked like you're normal with everyone. You're just running the society. You're just in the society going. But I think the mama said the root of the whole matter. Yeah.
So the time Nyerere came to visit to Jamaica,
When?
like the time Nyerere visited Jamaica, how was it in Jamaica, by the way? Like there was a freedom
In the 70s.
it was 1974. Yes.
Well, the country get independence and everything, so-called independence. But we were happy for, yeah,
We were trying.
yeah, the fake independence, yeah. So when we came there, we were happy because as a Pan-Africanist, which means the protection of black people wherever, well, we love that. And then when we came here now for evacuation, he just readily received us. There was no problem. So colonialism, it's always there. The exploitation of the people, the people who are in charge, well, of these big companies were mainly foreigners. For example, I used to be a soldier, and the head of the command was a white man.
Mm-hmm.
I can't forget, he was Major George, his name. So,
Who is that?
his name was Major George, I can't remember. When I was 18 years,
18 years old.
yeah, joining the army.
Okay.
So that was the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So colonialism, it gets worse every time. It's like it's still slavery, just at the end boundary with the Europe also. But the system that they have is more or less slavery.
Okay. Let's talk about the development right now, like in Tanzania, since we out of colonialism right now and we're free as Africans. How do we see, like, how do you guys explain the development of Africans right now? Starting with Nana Bena.
Okay. We've gone through a lot. Africa has gone through a lot because there was the fight for slavery, for independence. You know, there was the slavery, emancipation, independence, and then after independence, you know, this we still were not in control of our fate. We were not in control of our fate.
Right now,
we are becoming more and more, but it's still not. I mean, really,
we're still not.
There are still there's still a long ways to go.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. There is.
It's better to be honest.
Yes. Yeah, because I'll bring in my personal experience again. I have a software development company, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I'm looking for developers because there are many things that we need in Tanzania, in Africa right now, that will help us to be more efficient, to do much more with our lives, with our resources. And we've had a recent history of a lot of these development being done by other countries. Now, I know from personal experience, we had a project, not in Tanzania, in another country. We had a project, and this project was by the government of that country.
Okay.
And it had to do with security. And the security system was created by another country in Europe.
Really?
Yes. And if there were any problems, if the server went down or something wasn't working, they had to send someone from that European country to come to the African country. Hotel, airfare, his salary, food, just to come. And sometimes it's as simple.
Which year was that?
As I'm talking about 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
And just for someone to come and flick a switch. And it is very similar here. I've been to places where I'm seeing someone in the control room who is not a Tanzanian. I'm seeing someone who is at the cash register who's not a Tanzanian. So we are not there yet. We have come a long way from in the 70s, in the 60s, you know. But there's still a long way to go. And listen, it took what? The U.S. is what, 250 something years old. That's how many years they've been independent. It takes a while, you see? And that is Americans doing for themselves by themselves. When you come to Africa, African countries, we have natural resources, but we don't own the mines. Ghana produces some of the best cocoa. It's just since the last couple of years that they've been making their own chocolate. The resources, we don't have the infrastructure.
Do you think they study right now?
Huh?
Would they study like to have those
We are slowly beginning, and like I said, we have a long way to go, but we have also come a long way. But there's still a lot of work left to be done. I can't find a software developer to work on some of the projects that I have. I've gone to Udism, and so what I'm saying to you is, we are still the impact of colonization, the impact of the time even neo-colonization, right, is still impacting us today, 2024, right? There are some things that, if they were different, Africa in general, Tanzania would be much further ahead. You know, there are pros and cons with the system in Europe, right? The European Union. We've been trying to do AFCFTA for a few years.
SFTA?
Yeah, the free trade.
Okay.
Right? The Africa free trade. This is something that our forefathers countries and institutions, they have taken, offered / taken our brightest, right? There is a term called brain drain. It is a real thing. And so you do have, there people from the universities, young people from the universities, the bright ones are given scholarships, and then they go abroad to study, and then they stay there, and they never come back to development.
That's really bad.
Right? That is one of the things that shouldn't have happened. Because if that didn't happen, we would have accelerated our growth and development. And so one of the things that we need to do is stop that, right? So the academic institutions need to get better. They need to do better by the students. It takes a village to raise a child, and that is something that should be still evident in all of the communities across Africa, so that our children can live up to their full potential, right? And then they get educated here, they see the opportunities here, they stay here, develop, they're going to benefit their community, and it stays within the country. That way, to me, that's how I would stop that.
But I think it's also good if they're going to go outside for studies and they're going to come back.
There are benefits to that. Again, I don't have the data for this conversation, but it's something that could be researched. But how many go to study? What's the percentage that comes back? I've met a lot of people in the U.S. and in the UK who have come from Africa, and I've been here 20 years. I came to university, and by the time I turn around, it's 20 years. From so many different countries.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that I'm about to retire, is when I'm coming back. Or no, not me. I'm saying that's the story from people. I'll meet people and they'll say, I've been working in the U.S. or in the UK for 40 years. now they start sending money back, right? Remittances to build the house up country,
Yeah.
because in 10 years they're gonna retire and they want some place to come back to,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
But most of their time is spent somewhere else, you know. So that's definitely investing in our children, right? That is investing in our future as a country and as a continent. And there is nothing wrong with our brains. So we can learn everything we need to learn to use the natural resources that we have, so that it doesn't have to go outside the continent to be processed and then brought back, and we are now buying a processed product where the original material came from the same country we're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So, and as far as your question, you said as far as 6 we're at, the other thing I would say is us.
Wow.
Use us to help.
We're gonna use you guys.
Because that's why
Yeah.
Juanito came and he knew what he was saying, right? Because again, some of us we have experience and we have education. Come back to Africa and help to build, right? Because we are the experiences that we have outside. When we put it with what you guys have here, and we put that together, that is a great marriage, right? That's a great union, and we're bringing with us our skills and experience, and I think one of the big pluses is that when we invest here, we are not looking to make a profit and to send it back to the U.S. or to send it back to UK or Jamaica. If we have a business here, or we're working in the Tanzanite mine, right?
Yeah, sure.
And we're making jewelry and we're making money. Whatever profits we make, we're gonna buy another piece of land.
Oh wow.
We're gonna buy a car, right? We're gonna employ more people.
Sure.
You see, we're not taking our money and sending it outside like other types of investors. So the Pan-Africans that are coming back, the 6th region diaspora that's coming back, right? Us African descendants, who our loyalty is to the continent. Whatever we make, we're reinvesting it right here. It's not going anywhere.
That is really good.
Yes.
Really good.
So we are one of the best partners that Africa could have for its growth and development.
Do you have any employees from outside or in Tanzania?
In Tanzania, yes.
So you employ most of your employees are from Tanzania, not outside Tanzania.
It's half. Because like I said earlier, for our business, the level of software developers that we need it's hard to find in Tanzania.
Okay.
So we find them in other African countries. Right?
Why don't you take them to come and teach those Tanzanians like how to make those materials and all those stuff, so that you can employ 100 of Tanzania.
100% Tanzania. That's our objective, and that's our goal.
Wow.
You know, and so we are doing that. But again, it takes a little while. So we are working with the students. We have interns that we get every year, right? So you can come to our place and do internships and learn, different technologies, and all of that is with the aim of increasing the level of skills in the software industry.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know South Africa is better in IT, Kenya, Nigeria. So some countries are ahead, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And yes, we are doing our part in exposure and training.
And Tanzania as well is doing good in IT right now. The number is coming.
It's coming up.
We're gonna be there like Nigerians and Kenyans.
Pretty soon.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay,
I'm looking forward to it.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Back to Mzee, you've been here for 34 years old. I mean, 34 years. I want you to differentiate the leadership of Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere and here right now. How is it?
The leadership.
The yes.
Well, President Mwalimu Nyerere was ideal because when we came here first, he gave us 1,000 acres of land. Well, he promised 1,000 acres of land and other help that we can get. But you know, human behavior, it didn't end up as it should.
You mean human behaviors like